What's going on, guys? This is Damien from The Lookout and welcome to our BT20 April Regionals predictions video. Yeah, April Regionals are just around the corner. The first one will be a European one this Sunday, and this is going to be the first big European Regionals with BT20, far enough into the set so that all players have BT20 cards. And guys, it's gonna be awesome. So we're making a predictions video, but before we begin this video, we have only 20 subscribers left to go to 2,000 subs. So hit those like and subscribe buttons, hit that share button, like button, whatever button, just hit it. Let's see if we can do this week, man. That's so exciting. Now roll the video. As with all of our videos, let's start with the breakdown. So this will be our BT20 competitive analysis for like the first month of BT20, April. So yeah, these events start in April. First regionals, I'm going to list all the events here. I'm gonna give you our take on what to expect, some advice on preparation, and finally we'll wrap it up with a summary. Let's go. Let's talk about events. So we are only listing early April events. So I know that there is a bunch of them later in the month, but we're looking only at the very early ones. Europe, 2nd of April, online. NA is gonna have on 8th of April, another online one. Oceania also on 8th of April, and Latin America on 9th of April. Expect us to have most of these breakdowns. We'll try to get as many event breakdowns as possible. So yeah, hit the subscribe button for that. Now, let's go into some predictions. Prediction number 1, red decks, the usual suspects, again. So yeah, red didn't get touched on the ban list at all, and there will likely be a lack of non-Android 21 blue decks, so red decks will be performing very well. My idea is that Android 21 will scare away a lot of those blue decks which are better suited for combating red, and Android 21 shouldn't be able to beat you if you're playing a red aggro deck, so red decks will perform amazingly well. Now, how do you fight them? Get Shin, Noble Supremacy. Definitely, if you don't have Shin, go get him. He's dirt cheap now. He just got reprinted. Go grab like 2 copies at least and put him into your sideboard. But other than that, yeah, I expect Gogeta and Sin to be dominant on these events. Speaking of red decks, what's also red? Invoker, well, red-blue, but still, Invoker will be making its debut in April, and I'm super excited to see how it goes. So, early April, that means like 2nd of April, European online regionals are going to be the first time that you will be able to see this deck on a big event, and yeah, I don't really expect to see a lot of it due to it being super difficult to pilot properly, and in my opinion it's a lot weaker than the original Invoker. It's different. It's different enough to a point where I'm comfortable saying that it's weaker. I expect it in very low numbers, like maybe Peter Dan's playing it in Europe and maybe someone else, but I don't expect this deck to be in high numbers, and I expect it only to perform well if the player playing it is an expert Invoker player, basically. Now let's talk about the big blue boogeyman, Android 21. You will need to be ready for this deck. The problem with this deck is, while not unbeatable, and yesterday I've published a video showing you how to beat this deck, it's very easy to beat it if you know how to do it, it will push out some of the blue decks. Like some of these slower blue decks like Beerus, Gamma will probably suffer a lot against Android because you're giving her blue energy, you're giving her green energy. She can do a lot when you're playing Gamma. So Android 21 will probably be the most dominant blue deck at the event, and it will push out the other blue decks which are better equipped to fight red. which is going to be quite interesting. In case that you have missed yesterday's video, here is how you fight Android 21. Just use Koitsukai, use BMS, and then just ruin her day. Like, you can really destroy this deck with these two cards. So yeah, you're welcome. Let's talk a bit more about blue decks. I love discussing this topic. Crimson 2.0. Now that Crimson is banned, we are lacking a blue aggro deck. And one of these two is going to be the next Crimson deck. I think these are the highest competitors. So as blue decks, they will naturally struggle against Android 21, but it might not be an auto loss, because if you're looking at super aggressive blue decks, they can beat Android 21. You can just aggro her down. In this case, Soul Striker has a bit of a better matchup than Android 18, because Soul Striker can burst her down faster. Android 18 needs to wait until turn 4 to be super aggressive. But yeah, both of these decks will be able to beat Android 21, if you ask me. I think that Android 18 is the best BT20 blue deck, best BT20 deck probably. I hope to be correct on this one. And Soul Striker did very good in Latin America, and I have seen some very good Soul Striker lists. So expect this deck to show up at least in like low numbers, but expect it to show up. Now let's talk about Cumber. Like, Cumber is going to be the black deck at these events. I think we're not gonna be seeing much of Supreme Kai. I think it's gonna be Cumber. Like, Cumber is insane. I was so wrong during my tier list. This is hands down the best black deck. This deck is stupid good. I was initially thinking that we will see a lot of Supreme Kai, but I'm sure that a lot of players want to try out Cumber. And Cumber is going to dominate a lot of these matchups, man. If you're not equipped to fight Cumber, and we will have our guide on fighting Cumber out very soon, hopefully very soon, you're gonna have a bad time. If you want to prepare to fight against Cumber, I think that Trunks Jita is a very difficult deck for Cumber to beat, because of all of the barriers that you have and the ways to deny him doing his own stuff. And surprisingly, green is actually good against Cumber. Not all of green, but there are some green things. We'll talk about that more in a different video. But yeah, for black, expect to see Cumber. Now let's talk a bit about yellow. I have 4 candidates here, and I expect all of them to be present at the regionals. We already know that Trunks Jita and Golden Frieza are hands down the best yellow decks at the moment. But, you know, we might see new yellow decks. I mean, we will definitely see them, because it's the new stuff. Everyone wants to play it. But out of the 2 new decks, though I believe that Spirit Bomb is amazing, I think that Majin Vegeta, the starter Vegeta, will be the most dominant yellow deck, because there are some cool strategies with it, and it's a starter deck. It's easy to get. So yeah, if you're facing yellow, expect to face mostly Majin Vegeta, and then like Trunks Jita and Golden Frieza, maybe some Spirit Bomb decks. And finally green, the worst color in the game. Well, black now has Cumber, so green is likely the weakest color at the moment. However, green is well equipped to fight Cumber. It's well equipped to fight Android 21, because if you're going hand destruction route, and the best green decks are Cooler and Cell, both of which can go into hand destruction. And for example, if you're fighting Android 21 and you pair strong hand destruction plus Koitsukai, you can win games against Android 21 fairly easily. You can beat Cumber with green, especially with either Cooler or Cell, because if you're playing Cooler, you just don't focus on battle cards, you just deny him draw and then you destroy his hand. And if you're playing Cell, you just play your middle guys. I think they cost 6. The first transformation, which has barrier. And then Cumber can't do much here, and whenever you're ready to beat the crap out of him, you just go into the Aether Drop and then beat the crap out of him. So these two will do a lot. If you take them, these two should perform well against Android 21 and Cumber, but they will fall apart when they face red decks. That's the problem. So yeah, sadly everything else is good against green, but Android 21 and likely Cumber aren't. Now let's look at preparation. Here are some of your tech choices. So for siding against blue, just play cunning cards like usual. Just do Krillin, but you can play whatever color, I mean depending on what you're playing, of course. For red, Shin and Dirty Burst basically. I mean, so yeah, I mean if you're playing a non-Android 21 blue deck, you're gonna have a much easier time because you just side a couple of Dirty Bursts. Shin goes into other stuff, but yeah, blue, mostly blue against red. And finally Koitsukai and BMS, side these, put them into your sideboard for all those Android 21s, ruin their days, because yeah, these two cards are devastating for Android 21. And that's basically it. That's what I have for side choices. Before we end the video, let's jump into a very brief summary. So we are in for interesting 2 weeks. We have 4 events in these upcoming 2 weeks. It's going to be awesome, and we'll have events across multiple regions. So it's always exciting to see what's played. I fully expect red to be the best color. I think red is going to be the best color hands down. Especially now because Android 21 will show up in high numbers. Android 21, in my opinion, isn't as good in fighting red aggro decks as like those Gamma decks are, or Ramp decks are, as those slower blue decks are. But slower blue decks will be chased away by Android 21, and I think that's going to result in red just basically winning events. Cumber will be representing black, because Cumber is insane, Cumber is super scary. I will try to have our How to Stop Cumber guide out tomorrow. If not tomorrow, then like in 2 days. I'll try to have it out this week. Green will continue to struggle. However, green, while still basically auto-losing against red, green has a very good matchup against Cumber and against Android 21, specifically Cell and Cooler. They can deny resources, they can deny card draw, they can destroy hands. These two decks are very good against Android 21 and Cumber. So keep that in mind. And finally, like I've said, we're gonna have 4 events, and I'll try to bring you all of these event breakdowns. So hit that subscribe button, and yeah, it's gonna be awesome. That's it for the video. Let me know in the comments below, what are your predictions for early April, for these early 4 events? What do you think is gonna win? What do you think is gonna show up in highest numbers? Do you think that we might actually see a deck that we didn't mention here perform best at the event? That's gonna be cool. Which colors do you think will perform worst? Which will perform best? Leave your thoughts in the comment section below. I read all of your comments. I try to respond to everything. I love our little community. And guys, subscribe for more Dragon Ball videos. We have only 20 subs left to go. So hit that share button, like, subscribe, everything. And if we hit 2000 subs, we're gonna have an awesome giveaway. Well, this has been Damien from The Lookout, and I'll see all of you in the next video.